Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you again. I am Alicia Brooks, and I serve as Chief of Staff for District 4 Commissioner Steve Bradshaw. I am a 20-year resident of District 4. My husband and I have raised our two daughters here in DeKalb, and they are graduates of DeKalb schools. I can't imagine living anywhere else than DeKalb County. Well, maybe on a beach, blue-green water, private chef, a hammock, infinity pool. Girl can dream, right? But I am an ambassador for DeKalb County. I'm unapologetic for that. I love this county. I love working in this county, and I love all that it has to offer. Again, thank you for being here this morning for the first quarterly and the fourth community breakfast meeting for 2024. As we embark on the seventh year of hosting these quarterly community breakfast meetings. We are happy to have DeKalb School District Superintendent Devon Horton as the guest speaker for today. He had a prior engagement, but he will be joining us soon. I want to thank Clarkston High School Principal Patty Lamel, Assistant Principal Damon Powell, and their entire team that have helped us organize and prepare for this morning. I want to thank Mr. Aaron Cherry, who's helped us with the cafeteria and the setup, and for his hospitality and accommodating all of our needs. So the screen, the tables, he did it all. It's good to be back at Clarkston High School. We've had one of our Q4 meetings here in the past, so it's really nice to be back home here at Clarkston. Today's breakfast is prepared and served by the Clarkston High School student Cook It and Goris catering team. Give them a hand. So, you know, for teenagers, that meant they had to get up early this morning. So they really need more than that kind of hand clap y'all gave them. Under the leadership of Chef Jessica McNair and Assistant Chef Tamara Williams, as well as Mr. McNair, if you can raise your hands, if she's back there. Derek McNair, see here? All right. So on behalf of District 4 and Commissioner Bradshaw, we want to thank this culinary team and their skills. I hope you're enjoying the food. I'd like to cover a couple of housekeeping matters. The restrooms are outside these doors to the left. And it's important, please, that you sign in, that we have a record of who is in the building. This is a school building, and there are students in school today. They have Saturday school, so it's really important that we know who all is in the building. And if you did not sign in, please help us out and sign in. Robin Fleeg, our District 4 Constituent Services Coordinator, some of you know her by way of your contacting the District 4 office for help with any given county matter and beyond. She tracks and she logs all of those issues that come in, whether they come in via email, phone call, or you tell her while you're here today. She's the liaison for the county departments, and she is the catcher of all those frustrating calls and emails. Please give Robin a hand. She's back here. I'd like to also introduce Carrie Cordes, and she's sitting over here. Carrie, can you? Carrie's short like me, so you might have to stand up. She's our communications specialist. She is the creative force for the newsletters, the flyers, and all the special announcements that many of you receive. If we have your email, you will get updates from Commissioner Bradshaw's office. Please give Carrie a hand. As I said, this is Commissioner Bradshaw's 7th year hosting Q4 community breakfast meetings. He designed these meetings, he designed these one-of-a-kind DeKalb County District meetings to provide constituents with an opportunity to bring forth their ideas and questions. He uses the Q4 format as another tool to bring you updates, information, resources, and to address your inquiries. Commissioner Bradshaw likes the back and forth that sometimes comes at our meetings. and he enjoys hearing your ideas that will help DeKalb County. Commissioner Bradshaw invites representatives from DeKalb County government departments, and some of them are sitting here up front. And for those of you that melted into the audience, I'm going to need you to come up front and sit at the table eventually. So come on and make your way. So we've got DeKalb County government department representatives here, as well as constitutional officers, and they attend these meetings to help us take your questions and provide you with updates and responses. And we also have other stakeholders in the audience as well, and we'll be calling some of them up. It's worth noting that quarterly meetings of this nature are only held by one DeKalb County commissioner, and that is your District 4 Commissioner, Steve Bradshaw. Only one's doing it. And like I said, he's been doing it, this is our 7th year now. Please join me in welcoming Commissioner Steve Bradshaw, District 4. District 4 and the county at large are fortunate to have a hardworking, dedicated public servant representing your interests. Commissioner, I'll turn it over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Let's try that again. That was a little weak. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's a little bit better. Nobody's going to get dropped for push-ups this morning for that weak response. So I'll start by just saying thank you for being here. It's a Saturday morning. Everybody has busy lives and other things that they could be doing, other places that they could be. And that you're here on a Saturday morning is a testament to your civic engagement. So I'm appreciative of your presence very much. It's good to be back here at Clarkston High School. I thank Principal Lamel, and all of her staff for making this available to us and making us all feel welcome. I always thank the administration for sending these wonderful department heads to be with us here this morning to support us. Later in the program, we'll afford them the opportunity to introduce themselves and present, and of course they're available to take questions as they arise. And of course I would be remiss if I didn't take a moment and thank my amazing staff. I'm extraordinarily fortunate. Alicia already teed that up, but I just want to thank Robin Fleeg for her work as Constituent Services Coordinator, Carrie Cordes for her work as Communication Specialist, and of course my amazing Chief of Staff, Alicia Brooks. I've said this before on many occasions, and I'm going to take this opportunity to say it again. It would be impossible for me to discharge the duties of this office without their support. So let's give all three of them a hand. All right, so I'll give you some sense of how we're going to flow. So I'm going to make just a few brief remarks this morning. I'll try to keep it short. Depending on how things flow, we'll either turn it over to some other folks, turn it over to our department heads while we await the arrival of Dr. Horton, who had another engagement this morning. I get that, being booked multiple places on the same day at the same time. So, but we're really looking forward to him being here. And then we'll take some questions afterwards. So before I go any further, I want to acknowledge the presence of any elected officials who are here in the room and give them the opportunity to greet you all this morning. So who's all here? Okay, do we have the handheld mic? Okay. Where okay, where's Alicia or whoever? I guess I'll do it.
All right, Commissioner Bradshaw threw that one on me. Hi, my name is Virginia Reese. I am from the city of Tucker. I'm glad to be representing Tucker here today, and just glad to be up early this morning to see what Commissioner Bradshaw has to say and all that. So good to see you all.
Thank you.
We'll get to you. Other elected
And you
officials.
said that with a smile.
Good morning. My name is Judge Gregory A. Adams. I'm one of your Superior Court judges. I'm happy and honored to be here. I grew up here in DeKalb County, product of the City of Atlanta Public Schools, and honored to be here with you again. Thank you.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Whitney McGinnis. I am on the DeKalb County School Board, so I am here this morning representing or supporting our superintendent. But I specifically, for this area, I am the representative for Avondale Elementary, Robert Shaw, DeKalb Elementary School of the Arts in McClendon. So if you have any students at those schools, and I also represent Druid Hills Middle School and Druid Hills High School. So thank you all for coming out this morning. We appreciate it.
All right. Are there any more elected officials who are here? I want to make sure we acknowledge them. If any come in while we're going through the course of our meeting, I'll make sure I acknowledge them. Not to let our former elected officials off the hook, I'm going to acknowledge them too. So any former elected officials who are here, please. Let's give them an opportunity to say a few words.
Good morning, everybody. Shakira Johnson just recently got off of City Council after 16 years in the city of Stone Mountain. Grateful for Steve Bradshaw and his team and all he's done for our district. I'm also launching my election to be the next District 4 County Commissioner, Engineering Progress for DeKalb. Shakira Johnson, so grateful to be here. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Baby Joyner. I'm a former school board member representing what used to be the 4th District. It is now the 3rd, but that included Clarkston High School. So welcome to my son's alma mater, where I am a former PTA president.
All right.
Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw. I appreciate your partnership as always. So good to be here in DeKalb. I am former City Councilwoman Ann Lerner for the City of Tucker. But before we were a city, I served on Planning Commission with some great folks who are here and was on the board of Leadership DeKalb. So DeKalb is a great partner. Tucker is about partnerships, and we appreciate you, Commissioner Bradshaw.
Thank you. All right. Any more former elected officials? Okay, well, I do that because serving in office is not easy, okay? It's a sacrifice, it's a challenge, so people who choose to go down that path should be acknowledged for their service and their sacrifice. Also, we've arrived at the year 2024, which, if my intel is correct, is an election year. Somebody told me that it's an election year, so I also want to acknowledge the presence of any candidates who are here, and we'll give them a chance to say a couple words. And again, no filibustering, just a couple words of introduction. So if Alicia's still passing around the mic, who are my candidates that are running for office?
So I'll underscore briefly.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Demetrius McCoy. Demetrius, the real McCoy. I'm a product of DeKalb County. Grew up, went to elementary, middle, and high school, no filibustering. And I currently serve as the Chief of Staff for Commissioner Marita Davis Johnson, and I'm proud to be running for the Super District 7 seat on the DeKalb County Commission.
Well, that's the shortest time a pastor has given up a mic.
Good morning, and thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw, for having me this morning. I am Jacqueline Adams. I am the lady that got the 6 kids and 11 grandchildren, and I am running for Super District 7 Commissioner. I would love your support, and thank you so much for being here today.
Good morning. Thank you again, Commissioner Bradshaw, for giving us this opportunity. My name is Tyshawn Jackson, and I'm running to be DeKalb County's next state court judge. I'm running because I do not want another 9-year-old to witness my tragedy. Unfortunately, at the age of 9, I lost my mother to gun violence at the hand of her domestic partner. State court judge will deal with domestic issues, so I'm running so no other 9-year-old will have to witness my tragedy. Tyshawn Jackson, I ask you all for your support in May of 2024. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dion McGee. I am running for DeKalb County State Court Judge. I am a daughter of DeKalb with a legacy of service. I have been practicing law for 23 years. I am educated in our public schools, as well as my children. My daughter Kayla is a graduate of DeKalb School of the Arts. I want to do the work because I have been doing the work in the community my entire life. On May 21st, 2024, I will be on the ballot, and I would love to have your support. Dion McGee for DeKalb County State Court Judge. Thank you.
All right, are there any more candidates who are here? All right, well, if any show up, we'll give them the same opportunity. And there's a reason that I do that, because running for office is hard. It's a sacrifice, it's a commitment. So my hat's off to all of you for throwing your hat in the ring. There is one more candidate who's here this morning. My staff a few weeks ago said, you know what, Steve, you're so kind to give all these other candidates an opportunity to speak at your meeting. So, you know, I try to be careful because this isn't a political meeting, it's an official meeting, right? So I'm not campaigning standing here in this meeting. But just for the record, it should be public knowledge by now that I've made the decision to seek the office of CEO of DeKalb County. So, all right, and I guarantee you I won't go any further than that in this meeting. So, this is what I just want to talk about briefly this morning with my few minutes. I want to talk about DeKalb's budget. So, we're in budget season, and that'll be occupying our time and energy over the next several weeks. So just by way of review, DeKalb County's current budgeting process is what I consider to be a little odd. It's a little off. So we run on a calendar year, which is also the fiscal year. But according to the current construct of the Org Act, the CEO is required to present a budget proposal by December the 15th of every year. And then we, the Board of Commissioners, have until basically March 1st to approve it, reject it, or approve it with amendments, which is what we normally do. The problem with that is the new fiscal year has already started before a budget is in place. So we work on a placeholder budget for a couple months, which always struck me as a little odd. So for the last year and a half, we've had a Charter Review Commission in place looking at revising, reviewing the DeKalb's charter, and that formation coincided when I became chair of the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee. So I seized that juxtaposition to make a proposal to the Charter Review Commission, which was to change the order of our budgeting process. So what I proposed is to require the CEO present a budget by September the 15th of every year, and then the commission has until the end of the year to pass it to December 31st. And that way we start a new calendar year and a new fiscal year with a budget in place. So the Charter Review Commission has adopted that. Mostly, I think their recommendation was to have the CEO submit by October 1st. I'm still going to push for September 15th as it works its way through the General Assembly, but I think that change will hopefully help induce a little more cooperation, collaboration between the CEO and the board, and to me, it's just good public policy to start a year, your fiscal year, with a budget in place. So hopefully we will execute pursuant to that, and that change will occur. And I think that's all I want to say this morning. My head will be dancing around with numbers for the next few weeks. Just as a query to the audience, does anybody know how large DeKalb County's budget is? Mr. Benny knows. I know Stephen knows. Judge? Anybody? Okay. Jana, what's that number? One what? That's a little light. Stephen, what's the number? 1.6, right? 1.6, 1.7. That's about where it is. So that's not inconsequential. That's a significant number, and it's the first responsibility of the county commission to pass and provide oversight for the county budget. So it's a responsibility I take extraordinarily seriously, and that's why the next few weeks will be devoted to DeKalb County's budget. So With that, I think I'll just stop and yield back to Alicia to carry on with the program, and we will await the arrival of our guest speaker, who I will present to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw. All right, next I'd like to invite someone who, she said the other day, we're tied to the hip. For many of you, you are familiar with Commissioner Bradshaw launching a 50 Mentor Mentors campaign January last year with Big Brothers Big Sisters. And so we have the honor of having Upenda DeBose with us this morning, and she's just going to bring some greetings and share some information with you. Upenda?
Good morning, DeKalb County, District 4, and actually all of DeKalb County. I see a lot of representatives here. My name is Upenda DeBose, and again, I am the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships with Big Brothers Big Sisters, Metro Atlanta, and I am tied at the hip with Alicia, her team, and the amazing Commissioner Steve Bradshaw, because they have done so much to advance the mission of bringing mentorship to every child in DeKalb County that needs it. We are celebrating National Mentoring Month at this time, and so in addition to Commissioner Bradshaw's team, we have a couple of folks who we are calling game changers. We were calling them ambassadors at first because they were in the community helping us to recruit and advocate, but this year we're calling them game changers because we have a grant and partnership with the NFL. It's called the Big Draft, and they are supporting us to bring more mentors, especially men of color, to our mission. And so we have Pastor Moore from Clarkston Baptist Church. Thank you, Pastor, for your championship advocacy, and also Frankie Atwater from DeKalb Chamber, the DeKalb County Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for your support. Just a quick update on the campaign that we started in January of 2023, right here at the quarterly breakfast. We launched 50 Men to Mentor campaign, and the reason we were launching 50 was because we had about 50 boys on the wait list here in DeKalb that their families had raised their hand and said, you know, my child needs a mentor, and that's in our traditional one-to-one community program. Since then, we have matched 15 children in DeKalb County, so that deserves a round of applause. 15 people have stepped up and been matched. But we still have a wait list of children, and so we decided to expand from District 4 across DeKalb County to meet that need, and we have about 145 children, the majority of those are boys, that need mentors. So we will continue the campaign throughout this year to fill that void. But in the meantime, I also wanted to let you know, because we have Dr. Horton here, that we are serving more children through diversifying our programs. So right now, about 118 children are served through our community program. That's people who have raised their hand and are big serving littles in our community. But we also have an additional 150 children at Lithonia Middle who are receiving mentorship weekly by paid professional mentors with a supplement of community mentors that come in as well. So that deserves a round of applause. 150 children at Lithonia Middle are receiving weekly mentorship, those that have been identified by the principal, social workers, counselors, and families, because we still work with the families, to say this child needs support. So we want to continue to work together as partners with the school district, with our commissioners board, with Commissioner Bradshaw, even CEO Thurman is one of our game changers and ambassadors. We have a lot of people standing with us, and your support is appreciated also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Upenda, for the great work that Big Brothers Big Sisters Metro Atlanta does. Proud of our partnership with you all. It's one of the best things we've done since we've been in office, so thank you. So at this point, it's my honor to introduce our esteemed school superintendent, Dr. Devon Horton. Few brief words of introduction. Dr. Horton's from the Chicago area. I like the Chicago area. except in the wintertime, then you can have the Chicago area, but I do like it. He's had a long and distinguished career in education, including roles as a teacher, an assistant principal, a principal, an assistant superintendent, chief of schools, and now superintendent of DeKalb County since last summer. And sir, we're honored and delighted and fortunate to have you with us to lead our school system. Now, a few months ago, Dr. Horton and I had a one-on-one sit-down, very candid session in which we shared each other's visions. I can tell you that I support his vision, and as we used to say in the military, I'm in the foxhole with him. As everybody knows, one of my big important issues is economic development and driving economic development throughout DeKalb County. And I believe that a successful school system is a critical component of any community's overall economic vitality. So to that end, I believe that DeKalb County's government leaders and DeKalb County school system leaders should be very, very close to each other. So I shared that with Dr. Horton when we met, he agreed, and looking down the road, I hope to have a long, fruitful, productive partnership with you as we work together to move DeKalb forward. So, and also when we met, I seized the opportunity to ask him if he would be our guest speaker for our first quarterly fourth community breakfast meeting for 2024. He agreed without a moment's hesitations. So without any further ado, it's my honor to present to you all the Superintendent of the DeKalb County School System, Dr. Devon Horton.
Good morning, everyone. Just for the record, this is my second speaking engagement this morning. So I wasn't late and just ran across the front. I was over at the we had a chance to celebrate the Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl that's taking place this morning at Miller Grove. 72 teams participating in that. It's amazing to see the excitement behind literacy. And so today, thank you, Commissioner Bradshaw, for allowing me to come and speak. So today I'm coming to talk about just where we've been in DeKalb County Schools, our plans as we work to move forward, and then some of the things that we're going to need from you. Right? This is not a one organization, definitely not a one-person show. This is a collective effort, and we need every single person to buy in and to put their skin in the game as we work to disrupt for excellence. I'm sure many of you, when I was coming on board and you saw that word disrupt. Sorry, Ms. McGinnis is here. Good morning, one of my board members. Any other board members here this morning? All right, Ms. McGinnis. She's been really critical in helping to shape the direction of DeKalb County Schools, so thank you for being here, Ms. McGinnis. We are on a journey, and so when I said the word disrupt, I know some of you all hearts were beating fast. Oftentimes when you see that word disrupt, you think negative, right? But let's just talk about a few people in our world, in our society, that are currently, but also have done it in the past, right? So let's talk about Elon Musk. Is he a disruptor? Absolutely. While many of us and many people in our country are fighting across the world to build sustainable and talk about sustainability in the green world and keeping us safe and building a better future for tomorrow so it can be healthy air, Elon Musk decided to do something about it. And well, he's having a little trouble now with the cold weather with his vehicles, but that's it. And then it started in a movement, right? The Teslas and a lot of vehicles are now, the electric vehicles are taking off. We were just awarded a huge grant, $23 million to be a part of that disruptive work. That's disrupting for excellence. $23 million from the federal government to build electric buses, 50 of them. That's a clap, team. That's a huge effort, but that is what disruption looks like. We can talk about, we just celebrated Martin Luther King Jr. He was disruptive, right? Disruptive in a way that changed the world, and we still think about and try to emulate the way he led during that time. And it's still having an impact on our world. We can continue to talk about disruptors. Michael Jordan, I have to get my Chicago guy in there. He disrupted the sport of basketball, took it global. It wasn't a big thing in Europe and other parts of the country. And while this is still a soccer world, basketball took off because of the way he played and the things that he lifted, and he was disruptive. Taylor Swift, her music, dating a big-time football player also, disrupting, right? But they get celebrated for their great work. But when you unpack what they're doing, they were disruptors. And that's what we're looking to do here in DeKalb County Schools. We're looking to disrupt for excellence. And so how do you do that? First, it starts with a vision, right, that the board sets. They create a vision. We're currently, and I know some of you have probably completed our survey, we're in the process of doing a new strategic plan. It's going to take the community's voice. And just for the record, we have almost 2,000 more participants this go around with our surveys than what we've had in the past regarding our strategic plan. So that means we got people listening and paying attention. And it starts with that vision and planning. And so on this journey, when we get done with the strategic plan, right, because we're currently living out the last year, we have to have a model in which how we lift this work. And you've probably seen in my 90-day presentation in November, now I can say months, Ms. McGinnis, it's 7 months in this role. I laid out some things, and I used a framework called miracles. And it's not a catchy phrase, it just happened to work for what we're doing. But miracles is a district improvement plan. And what exactly is that? The first order of business is that we want to make sure that everything we do, that we're motioning towards equity. Yes, I said the word equity. I know that can rub people wrong, just like disrupt, but it's important as we think about laying the foundation for the future of our children. How do we engage our families that's in the corners of our county that we never get a chance to connect with? So an example of what that means for us is that we are now doing, I have four different superintendent advisory groups where I meet monthly with me and key members of my team. We have a parent superintendent advisory group, and we're meeting, and they're giving me the business. I'll take it. And we're doing it in a very respectful manner, and I'm having an opportunity to hear from what we say downtown or central offices, what we would like the work to do. They're telling us if it's working or not. We have a superintendent staff advisory. You'll be amazed at how giving individuals, the stakeholders, access to people who are making decisions, how critical that could be in a non-formal manner. We have that advisory group. We have a bilingual superintendent parent advisory group that's going. Let's be honest, we have work to do for our students, our immigrant populations, for our students that have been marginalized for quite some time. And so we're giving them access, giving them voice, and giving them space so we can help make decisions. So when you hear people speak about motioning towards equity, we're working, because that's a work in process. That's a work in progress, I should say. We have to continue on that journey. And so as you're hearing the work that's coming out of the district, please know that we're coming through a position of let's do what we can to even the playing fields in the best way without taking away from anyone, but creating that platform. That's M under miracles. The I, improving the instructional core. How you teach is just as important as what you teach. Are we equipping our amazing teachers who spend countless and countless hours in front of our students, spend more time with our students than many of us as parents? Are we giving them all the strategies, the techniques, and the resources that they need so that they can teach at the highest level and meet the needs of every single student that come across their classroom? That's a very large task, a huge undertaking. And something that the board has supported me in doing is that we've restructured our central office. You saw in the papers early on, and the paper's been really cool with us lately, so I don't want to jinx it. But for the record, that was not us with the cheese and the bread. That was not us. But I just for anyone who didn't know, that was not DeKalb County Schools. But yes, but it's for this work around the board. You saw in the paper, and you may have read about us, quote unquote, bloating central office. Well, what I do twice a week, I go to 6 schools, 3 on Tuesday, 3 on Thursdays, And I'm talking to parents, students, staff, leaders. And the way we reorganize under the school leadership, I'll compare this year and to how it was designed. And it's not something I created, by the way. This is just best practice and leveraging research. In the past, there were regional superintendents, and they had kindergarten through 12th grade schools, between 25 to 30 schools apiece. Imagine that. And on their team, they had 2 coordinators, and depending on the regional superintendent, they used the coordinators the way they felt they needed to use them. They had someone to help them with transportation, someone to help them with the HR, and I think that might have been it. In that structure at the same time, we have a new math curriculum, new standards by the state that got released. We're in it now. 2025, they released a new ELA standards, and we only had 2 ELA coordinators for the entire district. 93,000 students, 2 ELA coordinators, 2 math coordinators. So now, let me tell you what we're doing now. So when you see the bloating salaries, I want you to understand what bloating looks like for us when we talk about disrupting. Now it's broken into 7 areas. We have 3 elementary areas. So if you're an area superintendent, you only have your elementary schools. So you have about 20, 22 elementary schools. But now within that area, you have 2 what we call executive administrators. So if you got 20 schools in your area, that means 1 EA will support 10 schools exclusively, curriculum and instruction, teaching and learning. The other area executive administrator will support the other 10. And then we also, because we only want the executive administrators focusing on teaching and learning. We don't want you breaking up fights. We don't want you sitting in meetings with parents regarding discipline issues. So we've added, the board approved, 2 culture and climate coordinators. So that means those 10 schools not only have the EA to support them for academics, they also have a culture and climate coordinator that's supporting on the other side of the work, which we know is a huge lift. In addition to that, the board also approved for us to put in 2 ELA coordinators in every single area. Think about that. We only had 2 in the entire district. We now have 15. And so if you're a school in an elementary zone, you have 1 to yourself. You have 10 schools share 1 ELA coordinator. In addition to the coaches that they already have in their school, we have 2 math coordinators in every area. We have 1 mental health practitioner in every single area. We have 1 special education coordinator in every area, and 1 ECE coordinator, ELL coordinator in every area. So think about this. Now, these areas that we now have, they have resources. And those resources, ladies and gentlemen, cost dollars. But the dollar should be spent where? Closest to the schools. That's going to impact our students, and we're doing that. Going on these hitting the road with Horton visits, I promise you, is not set up. I have teachers, we have our leaders, and even some parents who are aware, who are really excited and thankful that they're getting support that they had not gotten in the past. Think about this. We are not just accepting the norm. We're not going down the road of we've always done it this way. We have disrupted a structure that was not students failing, and no disrespect to anyone, but it was the system that the adults had built that were failing our students. And that's no disrespect. Sometimes you just got to tell it like it is and be honest, right? And our board courageously, with all the heat, some of you all may call them, email them, even celebrate them, they took a lot of pressure. But they got behind this because they know, most importantly, the work that happens is closest to the school, and that's the design. So that's the improving the instructional core. Under the R, which is rigorous course of study, miracles, right? It's the relevant, what are we teaching? Are we teaching best practice? Are we teaching from the standards? Or are we having our teachers without the resources? They got to go into websites like Teachers Pay Teachers, which is not research-based, or struggling to find ways to pull resources in. we must resource. Make sure that the science of reading is not just a thought in theory, but an action that we are investing in as an organization and uplifting those strategies. It's important and critical that we do that. Our math, again, new standards. Who was going to help our teachers master those new standards if we didn't have those math coordinators at the area level? You're leaving your teachers out to dry. And so we're actually pouring into that. So what we teach matters. How we're teaching it. The science of reading has to become center stage. Whether you like it or not, whether you're a fan of it or not, we're there. And we have to make sure that we're training. Prior to me coming, we had already started a cohort of teachers being trained in letters, which is one of the more well-known trainings to actually help teachers learn how to lean into the science of reading. But just for the record, the science of reading is how pretty much a lot of us in here learn how to read. We went away from the trendy stuff, and we went back to the basics. And we're going back to the basics. And so that's the R. The A, this is, I would say, people call this my hallmark area, but for decades, if anyone can name the last time DeKalb County schools or any large district can say we didn't have any teacher shortages, it didn't just start. It's been happening for a long time. Teachers are tired. Teachers have the opportunity to do other things. The world, COVID, has now showed how dynamic teachers are, and people are plucking them to other professions, taking them. And I respect and honor that, but we can't just sit back and wait. Major universities that we were depending on to give us the teachers that we need, some of them no longer have teaching prep programs. The country, since 2018, short 300-some thousand teachers across the country. So what did we do? We disrupted the model. We went after a structure. We built a teacher residency. It's called Ignite. We went after individuals. If I had $1 for every single time someone said, oh, I thought about going into teaching, or I wanted to go into teaching, I should have been a teacher. So now we're giving all those woulda, shoulda, couldas an opportunity to come and join our team. And how are we doing it? We've launched two things, a program called Ignite. Ignite is where we identify individuals with a bachelor's degree. You can have a doctorate, you can have a master's, but if you want to get a master's in teaching, you join our program. We put you in one of our training academies. We have, and I got to explain this because it's not just, hey, Teach for America is great, don't get me wrong, it filled a void. But we need more than that, right? We need teachers who are really coming, that have been equipped and trained in spaces where they're going to teach and that they're invested. And so this is how it works. We got a university partnership for this first cycle with Middle Georgia. Awesome, local. Every 6 months, we'll launch a cohort of 50 teacher residents where we pay them $30,000 to actually, because we don't want you driving Uber at night. We need you committed to being what our teachers do. Our teachers don't have time to drive Uber when you get in that classroom, right? We want to give you a $30,000 stipend, and then we pay for your tuition. And then we place you for a full year. Think about the doctor in the medical field and the residency model. You don't just go to medical school, graduate, and boom, now you're working on somebody's heart and brain. You don't do that. You go on a residency for 4, 5 years in some cases so that you can master the craft. We can't afford 4 to 5, but we give you a year of residency where you go. We have 5 schools right now that are training academies, and at these training academies, we have what we call lead teachers that we're training and coaching to work with cohorts, to work with on a 1-to-2 ratio. So if I'm a resident and you're a resident and you're the lead teacher, we're with you 4 days a week, learning how to be a dynamic teacher like you, and then on Fridays we're taking the coursework at Middle Georgia. And in a year, we'll have our masters. And you just can't go take a job anywhere else. You signed a contract. So that's a contract, Ms. McGinnis. You must commit to working for at least 5 years in our Horizon schools. You can't take it. The knock on some programs, they come and do 2 years or less. They get their loans paid off and they fly off into the sunset, and then we never see them again. Well, if you do that, you're going to have to pay our money back. Our contract is written that way. We have 50 in the cohort, and the schools are Henderson Middle, Stevenson Middle School, Chapel Hill Middle School, Southwest DeKalb, and Columbia High School. Those are our 5 in this first cohort. That's for high school and middle school. We start our elementary and special education cohort in June. Applications will be going out. So if you know someone that woulda, coulda, shoulda, think about going into the teaching field, please have them apply. And we don't just say you apply, you get in. It's a pretty intense process. And I would not be doing any justice if I said that a 1-year master's while training on the job is easy. It's not. It's intense. We're looking for a few good women and men that want to commit. But when I tell you when the application or the interest, I should say, was released, in 2 days, we had almost 500 individuals show interest and apply to come to our interest session. We had more. We didn't have enough seats. We couldn't take all of the people that actually applied. We could only take 50 in the first cohort. The second program, though, and they graduate in December, and they'll be teaching in our classrooms in January 2025. Trained by us, for us. That's that old FUBU model. I should have made that up first. And then you go into another program that we have. It's this company called Bloomboard. Bloomboard they take our paraprofessionals, and we have a cohort of 50 of them. And again, by the way, the board approved this because they know the need. Every year, 200 teachers short, 300 teachers short, 180 teachers short. Well, we're not going to keep being short. We're going to change that. And Bloomboard, we look for individuals that have at least an associate's degree, that's a paraprofessional or working currently in our school in some capacity, at least 60 hours, I would say. And then we pay for you for 2 years. You go through Bloomboard, and you work with them, and you get your bachelor's in teaching in 2 years. And we place you in the same model. You sign that agreement, and you leave us, you owe us that money back. Because our kids deserve people who are committed to the work, and we are invested in them. And so that cohort launches in March. We're not just sitting back and continue to be hopeful and wishing, or we're stealing teachers from Cobb County, Fulton, Gwinnett, and they stealing teachers from us, and we're playing this game. We want to eventually get out of that. Give us 2 years, we'll be in a different place. Because around 19% of our teachers are eligible for retirement over the next 2 years. And we already have shortages. Where will we get them from? We can't wait. And the university piece here also, they have to give up a little bit of their power and say, we want to build the teachers that you need for DeKalb County schools together. 50% of the philosophical side, and then the other half coming from us, the practical. And that's what's amazing about that attracting and retaining. We've been given retention bonuses. I promise you, and for the record, I don't get any of the bonuses. I'm the superintendent, so I'm not approving it so I can get more money. I don't touch that. But what happens is we've been paying our staff, our paraprofessionals, our custodians, our shortage of bus drivers, additional dollars just to show how much we value them. And we know money is not the only way to show it. We're also building the capacity of our leaders in our schools so that they can create better cultures, because we know teachers and people do not quit schools. They quit leaders. And if we don't invest in them, we will not have the educators that we need to support our students. That's really critical. Commitment to accountability. That's such a big deal. So as I stand up here today and I'm talking to you about this miracles framework, accountability comes front and center. How? A couple of ways. Once a month, if you go to our website and you go to the Miracles webpage, you go in and you go into the section where it says reports. You're going to see something that you haven't seen before. And that's all of those central office positions and people you have. They do monthly reports, and we post them on the website for you to see the work. It's important. If you have anything that you are interested in learning about what's happening in those specific areas, there's a narrative that you can go in and find where they can't write everything that they do, because that would be their whole job, right? But it's important that we're being transparent. And this is what accountability, being accountable to our taxpayers, being accountable to our students, being accountable to our parents, being accountable to our board, that we are, if we say we're doing this work, let's give these micro updates every 30 days, and you can see what we're doing. please go to the page. You'll see it. The other thing that I would share, and this is not for public consumption as much as it is just to share with you what commitment to accountability looks like. We take one full day a month, and Ms. McGinnis has had a chance to see this, where we bring all of our cabinet, and they bring their teams in. We go from 8:30 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon. And all of those priorities, so miracles is the overarching piece, but under each tenant, on each letter, there are these tenets of work that has to be done. So we bring these individuals in, the teams, I should say, and we ask for very simple stuff. We say, all right, bring your team in, finance. What priority? This is priority S1. You said that you would have the new ERP system ready to roll by June 2024. The last 30 days you said you would accomplish A, B, C. Was that accomplished? Yes. No, it was not. What got in the way? What will we expect to see from you in the next 30? This is documented. This is how we commit ourselves to being accountable. And then I take that information and I make sure that when the board contacts us, that we can update them and let them know where we are. I don't expect anyone to read that miracles report, the academic and the operation report, from the beginning to the end. I think we're putting out anywhere between, I would say, 100 to 125 pages a month of information, maybe probably more, around what we're doing. So if it's something that you really feel is important, go and take a look at it, right? These things that are happening, you're going to start seeing in our social media. Once a team member has accomplished and met a goal that they set, we celebrate them. We're now putting that on social media because everyone wants to be celebrated. You deserve to be celebrated. But most importantly, the reason we're doing it, because we have to be accountable to you all as taxpayers and saying the work is being done and letting you know that we're meeting the mark or we're not meeting the mark. It's not a perfect system, but it's a way in which we're holding ourselves accountable. Learning environment that supports student success. We all know students, the grown people working in the schools, even me, and sometimes you, we can become dysregulated because life happens. And it creates these barriers and it makes us do things that may not always be in the best interest, or it may be out of character in our behavior or in our comments. And so we've launched, our goal is to get at least 4 staff members trained in every school in restorative practice. This was a restorative practice community it's supposed to be. But when we look for the evidence of where and how we were doing it, there was no evidence. And so now we've got 80 individuals trained now. I've charged Dr. Towns. We need 4 per building. But more importantly, we're going to have some central office individuals trained by department in restorative because that's where a lot of dysregulation happens. You probably experience it. We are customer service first. So learning environments that support student success. We got to get out of this mode. When we look at data, we've been going on these town halls, our board members hosting town halls, and we're looking at the data. It was really disturbing when you sit back and look at it. And this is not a blaming, this is me reflecting just as an educator. And I was guilty of it when I was a principal. We would have, we only have 72 kids for in-school suspension for the year. Sounds great, doesn't it? But 700 got suspended out of school. That's bad math. That's a bad way to look at it. But a couple of things here. Our teachers who don't suspend anyone, they don't suspend. The leaders do. Central office, we have not given our schools enough to reverse that. Getting them trained in restorative. Our team is currently working on redesigning what in-school suspension looks like. Because I know how some in-school suspensions look. You sleep, you chill, you just kind of get away and you get credit for being in school. That doesn't help anyone. You laugh at. He knows that's how it goes. And we have to get away from that. We have to make sure that it lifts our students, and it's going to take investment. This is what disrupting, thinking about reversing that. And we can't always say for students making mistakes, because they make a lot of them, hold them accountable to the point where they're being suspended or expelled at rates that are unacceptable. There are some things, I want to say this to my law enforcement officers, and there are some things that, yes, expulsion is required. We talk about extreme violence, weapons, drugs, absolutely. But there are some things that we are suspending kids for just because the adults, we're tired of you. Well, I'm tired of you. I told you to get in that classroom. I told you to take that hoodie off. You didn't listen. 3 days. And write all these other things up. So I'm going to give you a little story. Ms. McGinnis, you heard about this. So if you recall, 2 weeks ago, we canceled school on the 16th. Well, it was the day after MLK's birthday because it was some extreme cold. Partly we canceled because we get together with the region, with the metro area superintendents, and we also knew that the buildings were shut down for 3 days already. We knew we would have issues with some of our buses and the cooling, the heating, and so we used that day to get things situated and make sure that we were all good. The next day, we go back to school. Well, DeKalb County, we have some really bright students. When I say bright, they are bright in ways where we celebrate them and honor them. They're also bright in ways where we're like, can you use that for something better? And so there was some bright students who decided to stalk and find my personal address and my personal cell phone. That's how talented they are. And I really should have tried to hire them in our IT department. But they found all of this, and they put it on social media. And they said things like, hey, this guy think it's sweet. It's colder today than it was yesterday. We know where you live. Don't come outside. Your face. Someone put in, these are real quotes. Oh, his picture looks really good on an obituary. Oh, his daughter goes to our school. Let's jump on her. Now, I'm the superintendent. But I'm a dad first. So that night, I'm up. My wife is panicking. My daughter's upset because she's the one that brought it to me. And I'm explaining hey, this is going to be fine. No one's going to come by here. We'll be good. So the next day, our wonderful public safety team, and this is all about learning environments that support student success. They go and they track it down. Our public safety, they're phenomenal. In partnership with our tech, they find anything, and they found the students. It was 3 students, and so I got the team ready. We're going to go arrest them. We're ready to expel them. What do you want? When do you want us to do it? I said, we're not doing any of that. I want to meet with them and their parents in my office tomorrow morning, with the parent and the student. Bring them in, and they're all single parents. Brought them in one by one with their parents and had a conversation, did a restorative. We don't just speak about this. You have to live by what you say you expect everyone else to do. And my daughter, I talked to her, and she understood as people was running up to her the next day, hey, we're going to jump on them for you. And she's like, no, we're not going to do any of that. And these students, when talking to them, when I say they're bright, they're really bright. One young man, the brains behind it, who actually went and found my address, I don't know how he even did that, because the HR and everyone, they do super CIA stuff to tuck my information away. We need to hire this young man. And his dad he and his dad are immigrants from Nigeria. And so when I met with the dad and we were probing, just asking, hey, what would happen if your son is caught and charged with because they had all kinds of, it was terroristic threats, it was a lot of stuff. And he said it's possible that we could be deported. I'm not doing that. That was never in my mind anyway. But we worked with that family, and I'm pretty positive that those students won't want to cross my desk or anyone else's desk anytime soon. They're doing some community service. They didn't get completely off the hook. We have a warehouse of books that we need to get rid of, so I made them commit their schedule to go in and do. They're probably working today for 3 weekends to go in and help in the warehouse. But this is what disrupting for excellence looks like. I could have easily said, man, these parents can't control their kids on social media. Man, it's always the parents. They should have got their kids offline. No, not at all. Not at all. And not under my watch. And so I talked to our principals about this exact thing. And they were almost in tears because I told them the whole story, and they thought they was like, yeah, we expelled. No, we did not. That's not the first move. What we have to do is to meet students where they are. And if we let them make mistakes, right? This is a world. every single person sitting in this room, we've made a bunch of mistakes. And if anyone in here says that they didn't, please move from by them because lightning is going to strike. It's the mistakes that make us great as humans and as adults. Anybody disagree with that? And so these students made some mistakes. And the funny thing, I can show you text from my daughter. So I drop her off at the depot every morning. And the young lady, they didn't even know who my daughter was. They just heard she went to the school. She was sitting by her when she came 2 days later on the bus. And my daughter texted me. And she's like, Dad, she's sitting right by me and on the bus and did not know that that's the girl you said, let's jump on her. And this is why I want to make sure that as leaders, we're leading by example. We're walking the walk. And this is not just some friendly thing. H-Pride, you've heard us talk about that. That's a real thing. Our core values, if you don't know this, in DeKalb County schools that we're living by, H-Pride, humanizing in our approach, professional in everything that we do. Now, I know you're like, well, I called the office, they weren't professional. We're working towards it, right? Be respectful in our engagements. Everyone deserves levels of integrity. I didn't degrade those students, those families. I treated them like human. The parents were crying because they just thought they were about to get their kids expelled. Leave them with a sense of dignity. But most importantly, the responsibility for all of us is to put ourselves in the shoes of the people that we serve. Commissioner Bradshaw does that when he's making decisions about his area. Ms. McGinnis does that. You got to put yourself in the shoes, and that's being empathetic. That's the H-Pride that we live by. We're working towards it. It's a work in progress, right? We won't be perfect, include myself. So that's the learning environment that supports student success. Expected targets driven by, establishing expected targets driven by results is the E. If we say we're going to change culture and we're going to truly disrupt, we must set goals, be public about it, and get to work. If we don't set goals, no one in this room would know, what's DeKalb County School District's goals? What are your goals? No one can speak to that. So that's work that we have to do, right, Ms. McGinnis? To make sure that they understand what our goals are as an organization and being responsible and accountable. And last, which I think I get the most emails and most technical questions about, the sound fiscal stewardship. Do we spend our dollars where we say we value? If we say we value student achievement, then why, early on I should say, were individuals upset that we were spending dollars to reorg, to uplift our students and give our teachers the best support that we possibly can give them? Facilities, we have to get better at it. I'm confident the team that we have, because there's a team under each of those letters. I got a team, you all. They're dynamic. They care. They're working hard. I got some of them in the office right now. Should be at home with their families, but this is what we do. But I got a great team, and I believe that we're going to be able to get our facilities in order. It will take a little time. And our finances. We have healthy finances, contrary to what you may read in the media. We're pretty healthy. Now, do we have some things that we have to do better from a standard operational side? Absolutely. We're going to get there. And just know we have 2 forensic audits that are out right now. 2. As much as you hear about needing that, we have 2 that are going right now. One of them, the board approved this before I came. The board they're relentless. They're serious. And one is for our SPLOS 4 and SPLOS 5. And then the other one is for the spending of our ESSER dollars. Making sure that we took care of these dollars responsibly. So just know that. And so that's miracles, everyone, right? It's not this just pie in the sky word. It's the work that we're doing, our structures for district improvement, and how we lead. And I want to name a few ways in which you can help. Under the Improved Instructional Core, we have launched what we call academic skills centers inside of our middle and high school Horizon schools. What is the ASC? Many of us in this room, if our children struggle in a subject, we have the means to find tutoring or even pay for it through a third party. The bulk of our families that we serve do not. So the ASC is designed for students who scored between 25 to 50 percentile on our MAP assessment. They get a chance to get, we have intervention blocks in our middle and also our elementary schools where they actually get tutoring. And we just built the centers, so we're hiring tutors right now. We pay between $18 to $25 an hour. We train you. It's the facility looks, we're getting ready to have ribbon cuttings in February. It looks something like a Starbucks / Kumon. It's set up, we don't want them going to a regular classroom. It's a nice little funky setup. And they're working with a ratio of 1 to 4. So if you're a tutor, you have 1 to 4 students for about 40-minute sessions, and you service about 4 or 5 cohorts a day. And you make a difference and you impact. So if you know someone who's trying to figure out what their next move is, and you don't have to have a bachelor's degree, you have to have a high school diploma, and we will strategically place you in those schools, train you. And the biggest piece about the ASC is that we also are working on getting them connected to some executive function and strategies. Because let's be honest, we know a lot of smart students that are not organized, don't know how to take notes, don't study. And at some point, it catches up with you when you don't have those executive function and skills. And there's more strategies to go with than the ones I just mentioned. That's one way, right? Helping. You all came through for us in a big way. The board, part of that org chart, we created something what we call FACE advocates. FACE advocates were set up this way. We now have only 3 vacancies. There were 45. And we've been in the churches and the community. We've been telling individuals, what is a FACE advocate? Let's take some of our most challenging schools where let me ask this question before I even say that. What percentage of our students, and if you heard me ask this before, please don't answer. What percentage of our students do you believe are considered to be frequent flyers and with high dysregulation numbers? What percentage of our kids basically that always get suspended? What number? Give me a percentage. 5? You said 25? 45. Man, woo. 85? 15? The closest I heard was 5%. It's 2.9% of our students. When you look at the media, you would think that it's 45%. You would think that. You would think it's 45. That's a half of every school almost, right? But here's what it's 2.9%. And when you do the math, that's less than 3,000 students that come dysregulated. But if you don't support the dysregulated students, it spreads quick like a wildfire. And so the FACE advocates are designed where they are placed in a school, and some schools may have 2 or 3 of these. If you have, and it's a ratio of between 8 to 10 students. So let's say let's use Clarkston. If they have 22 students that are high frequency with highly dysregulated, they'll probably end up getting 2 FACE advocates. And these FACE advocates become mentors during the school day. They meet all of their teachers, they meet their parents, and the student. And so it's this individual, when the student that's dysregulated don't want to take their hoodie off, and that teacher's fed up and about to suspend them, or send them out, they contact the FACE advocate. But you know what a FACE advocate is? In the building. The FACE advocate comes into the room, talks to that student, not in front of other students, but of course they build a relationship, and they actually address those matters right there on the spot. I've seen this work. I've had this work lead. I've had a school where we had almost half the suspensions for the district. We put FACE advocates in because we have to figure something out. The following year, that school had 1 suspension. Unreal. And this is how you know you can test it. Not one single complaint from a staff member or a teacher that said, hey, you ain't suspending kids. You tucking them away and giving them cookies. We didn't do any of that. And so these individuals, we're looking for some people who can connect with them. You don't need a bachelor's and associates to do that. It pays between $39,000 to like $46,000. And you are on staff. You get a chance to be in our community, in our schools, and we train you. You don't go the first 2 weeks, you don't go running into school. We train you in, say it with me, restorative practice, bullying prevention, relationship. We haven't gotten the relationship training launched, but we will for them. And then we also train them in our de-escalation techniques, because we know the students that they're going to take on are highly dysregulated, and they're going to have that. There's going to be some moments. And then we will get to the point where we have these things called FaceTime meetings, where we bring the family, or dinners, we bring their families in, some of the staff that want to be there, and we just kick it. Some of them do intramural sports with them, but it's like having that mentorship. That this is a community that I haven't been in a community like this where so many people want to be involved. We mentor during the school day, which still allow them to do things on the weekends with additional mentorship and different partnerships and organizations. So that's we have 3 vacancies left in that. So if you know people who are genuinely have the skill set and have interest in coming to be a part of our DeKalb team and want to make a difference, send them our way. Again, I want to thank Commissioner Bradshaw for allowing me to come here and just tell the story. I feel home here talking to you all. And again, this is just a great time here in DeKalb County Schools as we work to disrupt for excellence. Thank you.
All right, we're so grateful for our superintendent for sharing his thoughts with us this morning. We appreciate that. Before we move on with the program, I want to do a couple of other acknowledgments. One of our appointees to the MARTA board, Ms. Rita Scott. Please, Ms. Scott, we're honored to have you and share whatever is on your heart this morning.
Good morning, DeKalb County. I am so excited and want you to know, having been appointed to the MARTA Board of Directors and elected chair after my first year on the board, I'm so excited to represent DeKalb County. I represent the entire county, so I make it my business to know what's going on all across the county. Want you to know that we've had some accomplishments since going to the board. We are now in the process of creating the Stonecrest Transit Hub. We have broken ground on the transit-oriented development at Kensington Station. We're also in the process of creating the transit hub at South DeKalb. How many people know that no area continues to prosper without transit? So I'm so excited about what we're doing in the county. And as I listen to the superintendent, you shouldn't have given me the mic, Commissioner, because I don't know. But as I listen to him, I begin to think about the very first trip I took at MARTA, where we went to where they manufacture buses. And the first thing I thought about, we need to bring this to workforce development and DeKalb County schools, because electric buses, electric cars are the way we're going. And we have the ability to train our students, to bring this to our high schools, to bring this to workforce development, to make sure that we are first in the future of where we're going when it comes to transit. So thank you for the opportunity. Please know I love you, DeKalb County.
All right. All right, any more elected, appointed officials here? Okay, I want to make sure I did that. So superintendents agreed to stand by for a little bit to take a few questions. So we'll do that. But before we go into the general Q&A, I want to give our department heads an opportunity to just introduce themselves. No long soliloquies this morning because we're short on time, but the people need to know who you are. So let's just start right here and share who you are, and then we'll open the floor for Q&A.
Good morning, DeKalb. My name is Aaron Kimball. I serve as Special Projects Manager for Planning and Sustainability. We actually house business licenses, permits, land development, and things of that nature. So I'll be around if you have any questions. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Damon Scott. I'm the Human Services Director for DeKalb County. Human Services, we provide supportive services from birth to end of life. And I'm happy to be here this morning. And any questions that you may have, I'll be available after today.
Good morning to everyone. Happy New Year.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Timothy Hardy. I am the Deputy Director for Code Compliance. We enforce all of the CAB's property maintenance codes, building codes, housing codes, business license, and things of that nature. Commissioner Bradshaw mentioned the budget earlier, so I want to thank him for the recent passing of the International Property Maintenance Code, which gives us another tool for dealing with deplorable properties within your community. Thanks again. I'll be here for questions as well.
Good morning. My name is David Hayes. I am your Director of Watershed Management, and I look forward to a successful 2024 because we have a great deal of projects that are coming to a finish in 24, and we look forward to sharing those projects with you. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Captain Louis Pierre. I'm the Assistant Precinct Commander at your Tucker Precinct, located on Lawrenceville Highway. This is year 24 for me with the DeKalb County Police Department, and I will be here for any questions.
Good morning. I'm Captain James Berg. I am the Assistant Precinct Commander at East Precinct, serving the area of Lithonia and Stokecrest. Our precinct is currently located in off Bruce Street, just past Main Street, Lithonia, and I'm here for any questions, and I have been with the department for 26 years.
And Alicia Alicia got the mic for a couple.
Good morning, I'm Rob Davis, Interim Director of WorkSource, DeKalb County's Workforce Development Agency.
And Frankie, let Frankie introduce himself.
Yes. Good morning, DeKalb. How you doing? I'm Frankie Atwater, President and CEO of the DeKalb Chamber of Commerce. And many of you may wonder, what does the chamber do? What are they involved in? If you have a small business, come and see us. If you're talking about the economic growth of DeKalb County, come and talk to us. We have a lot of programs and things that we're developing to stimulate economic growth here in DeKalb County. Thank you.
All right, I think we checked all the blocks. So at this point, I'm going to declare the floor open for questions, and we'll try to do this in a orderly, systematic manner. Alicia will be making her way around the room with the microphone, but if there are questions, then we'll do that. We got one right behind. I'm sorry, Alicia.
I just want to add, I'm looking at the clock.
Yep.
We are probably going to go a little over. We will do the full 30 minutes Q&A, and we'll wrap it up at that point.
All right.
Thank you.
Superintendent, I'm Lance Hammonds, past president of the CAP NAACP, and I just want to thank you for your comments today. And it is refreshing to hear that we're doing something different and you're making a difference. One of the things I want to ask you about is the NAACP worked with the district a few years back to establish a volunteer policy. And the district did adopt that policy, I think last year or the year before. So it's in place. So can you tell me how we as citizens can volunteer or get engaged with our local schools? I think there's something on your website. How do we engage if we don't have children in the system still?
There's two, I'm going to speak about just two ways to connect. The first one is to go to your local school and work through that principal, and they'll walk you through the full process. And there are different types of volunteerism, right? If you're looking to come in for like an event, like we have Real Men Read and some of those events, that's a simple process to come in that way. But if you're looking to do more long-term, consistent, then you'll go through our process, and it will require like a background check. In which you'll go down to our public safety and go through that process that all of our employees go through. That's if you're going to be consistently with students, and in some cases even by yourself, if you're doing long-term mentorships and things of that nature. The other way is that you can come to central office and find like projects that we may need support for. Like today, I'll give you an example. We had the Helen Ruffin Reading Bowl today that required a heavy amount of volunteers. We had parents, community members volunteering to actually serve and help out that community. But when you come to central office, you'll be directed to a specific department if you're trying to do something with curriculum support, or in general, we'll bring that. The other thing that we've done, Lance, is that we've set it up where we had our first community partners meeting. That was last week, if I'm not mistaken, or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember. 2 weeks ago. Well attended. And we're trying to build a structure where if you are in the community, it's important that you are aware of what other community partners are doing, because you may have an idea that's similar, and they can also leverage and use your resources that way too. Right. But thanks for the fight to get that policy for volunteers. It's still got work to do, but thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Dr. Horton. Demetrius McCoy, a candidate for Super District 7, and my wife is a proud educator at Stone Mountain Elementary School, and I'm a proud graduate of Miller Grove High School, so I love DeKalb schools. But I want to say this, that one of the things that I've noticed just growing up is that sometimes the route for pathways are different and non-traditional. So we know every student is not going to choose college as a route, and we have a lot of industries here in DeKalb. Is there any consideration or thought about how to build an apprenticeship program, maybe in partnering with WorkSource DeKalb or other places, to allow maybe some of those students who we know may take non-traditional routes to build an apprenticeship, so once they graduate, they're gainfully employed and they can stay right here in their community, and we can see our community continue to thrive?
Thank you. That's an amazing question. Absolutely. So something that we're working on right now. And the district has been doing work with workforce development, but something we're working on now is trying to restructure we have what we call post-secondary push plan. As you stated, not every student wants to go to college, and even in some cases, what we find, there are students that are shifted to go to college and get in there for 1 or 2 years and probably should have been exposed to something different, need maybe a gap year or two or a different pathway. And so in this post-secondary push plan, I'm going to start with that, and then I'll go into our CTAE work that we're trying to do. The post-secondary push plan is designed where we're going to have students cohorted. Just because a student has a 4.0 GPA and is super high ACT or SAT, they don't necessarily always want to go to college out the gate. I've spoken to many parents who have high-performance students, and they try to make them fit in the box. And so in this post-secondary push plan, this is where we could use some other support from the community. Cohort 1 would have your higher GPA, higher ACT score, and we'll look at a couple of things. Colleges and universities that fit that build, post-secondary military opportunities that will fit that for students with those kind of performance scores, and then we'll look at career opportunities and career exposure. In that, you'll get support from an individual, because school counselors are stretched pretty thin. Right? I think the ratio is like 1 to 400. It's a really high number. So we are looking for some individuals to volunteer. So you still would have your 4 counselors at a school, or 3, but in addition, there'll be 4 additional bodies that will work with seniors exclusively to help them do applications for career opportunities or college or scholarship or military. And if we don't take that approach on the front end, we will never be able to steer them to what you asked about, which is the next phase of identifying these resources and connections. I was at a great meeting Mr. Atwater had regarding like economic development, education, I should say, development, and getting students in pathways. We have partnerships that have been formed, and some other ones that we're looking to continue to build so that we can get those connections to students like directly from a conversation in a room like this to the building. And then we have some, I don't even want to put it out there too fast, but I'll say, with our CTAE piece, there's some rumblings of us really building possibly 2 large centers for CTAE that will offer those programs like for career development, and those programs typically don't exist if you don't bring in a community partner to lead it. So we're not trying to, as a school district, say, hey, yeah, we built this building, so we want to lead all of this. No, we want to get the partners in, Coca-Cola or some of the other industries that may have like the other side of the work that's really critical. So it's a work in progress. We have an audit out right now for our CTAE offerings to make sure that on the other end of this, that we're offering what the industry is saying that's needed. Every couple of years or few years, we have to refresh to make sure that what we offer in those spaces is what's happening. And so workforce development for sure, which I think a great deal of our students would benefit from. And we got to find a way to get the students, when they walk across that stage or before they walk across the stage, to make those connections.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Alicia. Upenda again from Big Brothers Big Sisters. What I didn't mention earlier is that I'm a 23-year resident of DeKalb County, so I'm very vested in what happens here. And I have 3 graduates from DeKalb County School District and 1 still at DeKalb Elementary School of the Arts. So very deeply rooted with the community. So I've been happy to work with you, Dr. Horton. I came to your community partnerships event, I think it was last week, and really I represent partnerships beyond Big Brothers Big Sisters. I've been doing this for about a decade with Atlanta Public Schools, so I understand coming from APS with 50,000 students and DeKalb having over 90,000 students and a very small partnerships department. What is your vision for how we, as Demetrius talked about, really as partners, as community partners, work with DeKalb County? Do you have a plan laid out for that? What is the charge that you're giving to your staff for that? Thank you.
From the partner side, it started with that meeting we just had last week, right? Well, that was last week. That seemed like it was so long ago. The goal there with that meeting was to get all of our partners, or as many as we could, in the same space, engaging in conversation and sharing what our vision is, right, as a district. And I think that was successful. The other part to that was to make sure that our partners realize, as you saw around that room when you went to those spaces, there are some gaps, right? So that are, I would say, in some cases really critical that we need to fill. But from the partnership side, once we get our post-secondary push plan laid out, we are taken to the board at the retreat for executive director of student advancement to be hired. That individual will be then charged with building the partnerships for the career pathways. We also have the other side, which you're very familiar with, and working with Dr. Williamson and her team. We're now starting to start bringing you all in and seeing what else can we do. Right? It's kind of a you tell us what you have, but we need to know like how to really open up our doors. I think it's a school system, or schools in general, not just DeKalb, where we just have to think differently on how we approach this work. And so we are being very flexible in ways that we can do it. So I would say that planning is not something that I would build, but the planning would be in that next community partners meeting that we will build collaboratively together as a school district and partners, because we can't speak for your side, right, regarding best ways to leverage your resources, but you can give us guidance and we build the blueprint from there. That's the goal.
Thank you, Dr. Horton.
Cross Keys High School. We have Cox, the amazing Cox in Atlanta, that partners with Chamblee Tucker, and we're looking to work with Atlanta Gaslight, who's very interested in working with McNair High School. So that is a tie that we bring workforce and corporations in with high schools as well.
That's awesome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Kayla McGee, daughter of Dion McGee, running for state court judge. I'm also a graduate of the DeKalb School of the Arts 2020. And I was wondering where I would find more information about the teaching master's program, because I just got my bachelor's, so I'm wondering more information.
Look, hey, I'll sign you up now. But if you
yes, please.
If you go to our website and if you put in our search Ignite, IGNITE, Ignite Residency, it'll populate and take you to the page, and it'll give you the information that you need to be able to navigate and potentially apply for the next cohort in June.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes. Huh? Oh, Ms. McGinn, it's on our banner on our webpage also. Yeah, I didn't even realize it was done. Yeah, it's big on there, so yeah. And can you pull it up before you leave so I can make sure you got it? Okay. Okay.
You can hold it, yeah. Yes, I'm Ann McCormack, and I am a resident of DeKalb County for over 20 years. I'm interested in your Ignite program that you're saying. I have a couple of questions. I'm assuming that you copied or researched other mentor programs that are going to be similar to what you are presenting and trying to start up for DeKalb County. And I would like to know what their success rate is that they have had and what they have been able to show for successes and being able to fulfill the positions that they need to get. And that this is 3 parts.
Yes.
The other one is, what's the average cost per participant that you have? That since my tax dollars, since I have no children in the school systems at all, okay, what is it going to cost me as a taxpayer to have these participants? And what is going to be the success rate that you hope to have on that? And then the third part is, if this participant fails and leaves the program and the county has already put in so much money to this participant's tuition, reimbursements, travel, room and board, expense items, books, and etc. What is the county going to do to recoup that money back from that person who has left the program and has not fulfilled the program's requirements?
Yes, thank you for that. So I'll just say this is my 4th teacher residency that I built, so I can speak from research, but also my experience. Your first question regarding, I'll start at the end. They signed a contract, and in their contract, they are required, and they have agreed if they leave before their term, that they are to, at prorated, depending on how many years, they pay us back. It's a contract that's signed. This is not a new model. That's yep. Yeah, I understand that, but this is not as simple as a taste. It's not even technically a reimbursement structure. I'll say the bulk of this first cohort, the first 2, these are being paid for out of ESSER, which is federal government money, not taxpayer in that way. The second one, for what we forecasted, we're using Title II dollars to pay for the program moving forward. So there's no general funds being spent on that in that way. All right. The other piece is that nothing is perfect, right? But we can't let great and perfect be the enemy of good. We will have individuals that won't make it, that won't stay through. In the residencies across the country, you've seen it. But if you look at the data on the outcomes on student achievement, how long those teachers they go through are staying in a profession, it outweighs the potential of the negative pieces that you described, that potentially they could leave early or whatever it may be. There's some extremely positive things that come from having our residents, having a residential program. The first question, can you give me that one again?
What other mentor programs are you copying or replicating or pulling information from?
Yeah, as I stated, this is number 4 for me. I built one in Louisville, Kentucky. They're now in their 4th year. Built one in Evanston, now in their 3rd year. I built one in East St. Louis. They did it for 3 years, and they were all federal funded with grants, so they stopped it. And then I was in Chicago with the Academy for Urban School Leadership. They've been now doing a residency for almost 25 years. So those are the models that I would say that gave me the experience and the style to lead into this. But most importantly, for us, by us means more, not just where the people are from. There's no residency that we can emulate that's going to be the right fit for DeKalb, so we've built it for DeKalb. And we know the needs are very unique here. The vacancies are real. And our students, and unfortunately, it's our students that serve that's most marginalized that have vacancies. We have certain parts of our community that don't have these same challenges as vacancies, and so we have to do something unique and challenging in order to motion towards equity, as I stated, as one of the critical elements in the beginning of my conversation earlier. Yeah, thank you.
I have questions, sir, for you and code enforcement. I think it's easier for me to talk to code enforcement first. what do we do if there's a building gutted out with a shell, has been in legal, we're trying to get it down, and we keep being told is illegal? It's an eyesore to our community. If I need to talk to you offline, please let me know. We're asking for help.
So I'll answer it in general, just real quick. What you're describing is probably our in-rim demolition and abatement program. Any adverse actions against a property that's been dilapidated or derelict for an extended period of time, and we don't necessarily have an owner initially, we have to file those actions with the magistrate court. The county attorney is responsible for filing those actions. Right now, we probably have about 60 or 70 of them that are waiting to be filed, and we have others in the pipeline. So a short answer, it's a long process, and I thank you and your community for your patience there. But if we want to meet afterwards, if
Yes,
you
sir.
give me the exact address, I can maybe give you a better status, a window as to when we might get to it. Okay?
Yes, I've been in DeKalb County for 30 years. This is a brave new world. It's changed. And I'm about being a part of the solution. And like you said, sir, there's a process. There's a process that we've been through, and we keep being told at our city meetings, there's nothing else we can do but wait. I need to talk to you. Okay?
Certainly, we can
Thank you.
speak about it, man.
Thank you. And the, sir, superintendent, and I thank you. I did notice the boarded up buildings on Memorial Drive. Thank you. Superintendent, sir, thank you so much for everything you've said. I am also, have students that graduated from DeKalb County, and I have grandchildren in the process. It takes a village. I am involved with seeing the village and trying to help. A couple things that I've noticed and we're asking for your help on is proactive college prep. It is sad to see students don't even know how to navigate it. They get into the senior year and have no idea. So there's resources that we can put in all the schools, collegeboard.com. Some schools have college counselors, not the counselors, college counselors. Would you consider looking at that?
So you have a very good point. A part of that post-secondary, it's a large plan, but part of that is to do some of what you just described. And so that post-secondary push will do that whole layout of getting our students exposed to what the options are, and not just expose them in a way to say, hey, go do this, but to walk them through, like hold their hands, like they're still students, right? And so that is a critical.
It's critical.
A role that we're lifting, and then once that position is situated with our executive director of student advancement, we'll be able to fully launch post-secondary push planning.
Please let us know. That should be, in my opinion, a top priority because we're losing our kids.
Yeah, if you look on if you go into that Miracles page and you go under Dr. Towns section, you'll see quite a few tenets that's prioritized around what you just described.
Okay, thank you. And one last really, really important thing you mentioned about school suspension. I was elated to know that we have one alternative school in DeKalb County. They're stressed to the core. Kids they're hurting. And you have some beautiful people in that school that want to help. They need more bodies. And somehow building in how to keep the students from coming back. Because what I have observed was students, they know that they can act out and go there. And it appears to be growing what looks like gangs, intimidating kids that are looking for a second chance, and there's a lot of violence. in the school, and the school is doing everything they can to help, but we need what you call mental health counselors there.
Yes, ma'am.
And they need help. You mentioned 700. Y'all, it's bad. Our kids are hurting. They need something to say yes to. So I think a lot of what you're saying will help. But if you can go over there, I'm asking you to go over there. The, what did you call it, Ms. Robinson? Please go over there and see how you can help them.
Yep.
They need us. Our kids need us, and they need us. We have one. Kids get suspended, they go there. That's where they go. And they're fighting each other over there. The idea of I thought the school was is to give them a second chance to learn how to cope and go back into the public community, but they keep coming back. So we need solutions like miracle solutions there, so that they can come back and go to the other schools and tell what they learned, be champions for change, the kids. So build that into the program too.
Yes, it is. We have a committee. We've been visiting different alternative school designs in the area that's not in DeKalb County. We just recently went to Acceleration Academy in Gwinnett. So we have to do something different. I've been in 94 schools now. I'll get into all 139 before the end of the year, so I'll be there for sure. And in that visit, I'll be able to hear from the people, boots on the ground, what the challenges are, and they'll be able to share, and we'll be able to put some plans together. But also know that everything I spoke about in here, that's for collective district across the board. It's not for the 138 schools minus the alternative. It's for every one of them. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've just got a brief amount of time left. So the next couple of folks that we're going to go to, if you could just get to your questions so that we can get the response that will help us out. Thank you.
First, I'd like to say welcome to DeKalb, and thank you so much. I've been looking at everything that you're doing from a distance because I'm actually a mother, raised 9 children, matriculated 7, and have 2 left here in DeKalb County. I'm from the South Bronx, New York, and while my children are probably at the top 10 percentile, I was definitely at the bottom 10. So what I'm coming with is the things that got me out on time. We had summer school, we had summer night school, we had night school, we had day school. And I utilized all of those things, not for myself, but I thought that if I didn't graduate, that I was literally, my grandmother would die from a broken heart. So I did that for her. I grew up in the 80s, and so crack cocaine did not miss us. I wanted to say, I'm also first generation American, and in the Caribbean, at 6th grade, they begin to decide what area the children should be tracked at. So all of these different tests that they give at like 11th and 12th grade, my daughter went to Kittredge, 9th grade, 9 years old, they said she was college bound. CRCT, 9 years old, they said there's a prison speculation. So we can't begin preparing them at 9th grade. It's too late. So I would like to suggest that we partner with Georgia Piedmont Technical College, which was also once DeKalb College. When I came to Georgia in 1998, they had a program called GPT it was like a job training program. And so there are a lot of children that are disconnected, and we don't have to do a lot of research because they are a key in the community. So can we begin partnering with them and having it whereby the CTAE programs that they already have established relationships with all of these companies, can we as the school district partner with them? We have the technical university system and we have GSU. Lastly, one moment, I let me just finish, please, okay? Lastly, we here in Clarkston at Indian Creek, Jolly Elementary, and Clarkston High School, there is a high level of parent participation. When you get to Freedom Middle School, not so much, because we have a large pedestrian area. Therefore, we are not able to get to our children. The old Board of Education ground is standing there. Can we build up and either have a 4th, 5th grade academy and make this a middle school? Or can we have a middle school within 30021? Because a lot of those children, inclusive of one of my own, ended up at the alternative school. And because he was not, he had to dumb himself down in order to fit in. And a lot of our children, they don't get into gangs because they want to get into gangs. It's a matter of necessity to keep themselves safe. So if we're able to please really look at when these splosh things come in, if we can have a middle school or a 4th, 5th grade academy here in the jurisdiction of Clarkston, those are the things that I would like to suggest and then have you address. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mom, I would say congratulations on raising 9. That's amazing. Great work. New York, huh? Yeah. Chicago guy right here, so we got similar stories probably in the 80s. But I would also say we have some really strong partnerships with Piedmont College. They're at the table with our CTAE programming. And when I mentioned earlier about that facility, those facilities that we'll build, Piedmont will probably be our main partner because they have those relationships. So you are correct. The situation regarding the distance, I've heard this before, between Freedom Middle and the schools that's in this community, that is brewing. But we have something coming where your voice will be needed. Our goal, we'll be getting our executive director for student assignment soon. We're going to start, we have a student assignment planning committee that will be county-wide. What exactly is that? I can have an idea, Ms. McGinnis can have an idea, a bunch of us have ideas about how to do it. But we have to collectively organize in a way where we can get voices equally across the county to be at the table as we rebuild, and I would say not rebuild, but redesign some of our educational programming. And so the ideas that you had, I'm hoping that when we launch the application for the Student Assignment Planning Committee, that you apply. I think that would be, and if you don't have time, get someone who speaks very similar to the passions and things that's needed for this community, and we're going to listen. This is not a board move or administration. This is a community decision. We're trying to change some things. So I know, Ms. McGinnis, I say that so much, but that Student Assignment Planning Committee is going to be critical, and we will be able to work with you to get what's right. Now, there's a 12 to 18-month commitment that we're asking from the people who will be a part of it. It'll be intense. There'll be some education of that committee, and it'll be from all parts of this county, and then we'll begin to make plans around facilities and educational programming.
Hi, my name is Virginia Reese, and I am a council member for the city of Tucker. And I want to say really briefly that when I think about Disruptor for Positive Change, I think about all the courage it takes. So I just want to say I thank you for your courage and your leadership as you work to improve the lives of our children, which is our most valuable asset and treasure in DeKalb County. My question is related to athletics. So I'm under the impression that you have some plans to expand athletics. Really briefly, I entered sports when I was in 5th grade. One of my girlfriends talked me into going and trying out for this thing called softball, which I had no idea what it was at the time. But I spent a lifetime in athletics and activities that really kept me focused on achievement and kept me focused in a positive way in my life. And so I'd love to hear about potential programs you have, and certainly we'll just throw out there that I know it's great for DeKalb County and Tucker. We'd love to somehow partner with you on that. So yeah, thank you.
I'll answer quickly, right?
Please.
So we definitely understand the importance of athletics that it plays in the lives of our students, from the social development to thinking about schools having their own athletic teams and the school spirit and the energy that comes with that. And then the other part, let's be honest, we have students in our district who will benefit greatly and will be able to potentially take this on to get them scholarships to school. So it's not just about the winning of games, but the development. So we launched our elementary athletic program this year. In the first year, we are just doing camps across the county. These will be 4th and 5th grade teams. The district, we're right now we're funding that, but we'll be looking for some sponsorships to help us support some of the work around that. We launched a track camp in December, well attended, in 3 different parts. It's broken into area 1, 2, and 3. So you basically can say north, central, south. But they'll eventually play for like a county championship. We're going to have flag football, a competitive dance, basketball, soccer, track, and cross country in the first year. And we're looking for some support. And since we're not sanctioned by the Georgia Athletic Association, we are going to probably do something unique around coaches, where you don't have to be a member of the staff on the school. But we'll do training. We'll train the coaches, background checks, of course, and then we'll offer clinics for our coaches to get better with the work, and hopefully be able to strengthen our pipelines for students that so they can stay in their from elementary to middle to high. And we also will do it'll be a girls and guys league for all of that. And most of a lot of our competitions will played at the local high school on a Saturday or something like that. But it's been a lot of work going into it, and you'll see it's on our social media, on our website, and we're continuing to build it, and we'll launch the full season this fall.
Thank you, Dr. Horton.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that, first of all, I'm a community volunteer. I had 3 kids that go through DeKalb County schools, 1 through Warren Tech. I've got a daughter here that graduated with the MBA from UGA. And then I have 1 at Georgia State. None currently in DeKalb County schools, but I am very excited about what you guys are doing here. That's why we're here, because we love DeKalb. We love South DeKalb. We are from the Redan High School district with E.L. Miller and Redan Middle. Hats off to Commissioner Bradshaw, because he is always doing something big. And Alicia, we helped organize a food pantry back in 2020 at E.O. Miller. So I'm just very excited about what you guys got going. I'm pulling for you and CEO Bradshaw. Okay, all right. Okay, but I'm just very excited, and I'm so looking forward to what you actually have going on. And we're looking to get bolted into it, because when we do well, everybody does well, right? And I always say that I wouldn't move from DeKalb, because I can't take DeKalb or Stone Mountain with me, and I have to have both. And so we are just excited. So we're here to see what we can actually do to actually help the county move forward, because we love us some E.L. Miller around the corner, and we love us some Redan. And so we're just here to say thank you. Didn't really have a question in particular, but we just want to say thank you.
Thank you for that spirit and energy. That's beautiful. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Horton, when the commissioner was planning today and had invited you, we knew that you would be popular. We knew that folks would come out because they had questions for you. Thank you so much for hanging in here and answering the questions. I know some of my department folks are probably, nobody's coming at me in sanitation or code enforcement, but we got one last gentleman here. Let's see if he throws a curveball. Get on.
Okay. Good morning, Dr. Horton. My name is Bob Irvin. I'm the community liaison for White Oak Hills Baptist Church. That's right next to Redan High School, from your St. Clarita there. I taught high school many years ago, and it's been many years since I taught. But for the last, 20 years, I've taught Sunday school to the teenagers. And I've always been impressed with those students who know how to solve problems. But I've always felt like there should be mandatory classes in conflict resolution starting in the first grade. Because once they reach teenage years, they end up in the alternative schools. I don't understand, and please, can you make me aware of if any conflict resolution classes are being taught in DeKalb County, and if not, why not? Because they need to start learning in the first grade how to solve problems so that they are not fighting, when they get to middle school and when they get to high school. That's so important to me. Thank you.
I tried, department heads. Dr. Horton?
Sorry, I would love to pass it on. No, but I would say to answer that in full, not yet. That's the best way to answer that. We do have Second Step, a curriculum that in our social emotional learning that has a conflict resolution arm. But your point is well taken. One of the things I would say that we have to get right first, we have to make sure that the adults have conflict resolution at the center of how they do business. You were a teacher. This job is hard, and sometimes we can forget why we're there. It happens to the best of us, and so we're working on with that restorative piece, which is a form of conflict resolution, starting with that first, and then I can see us in a little bit, in a short window, being able to uplift conflict resolution in the schools. Again, the adults have to get there. They already are responsible for teaching science, reading, math, all these other pieces, and so there could be, if we can get our counseling department I would say staffed properly, we might be able to lift it through our counseling or even maybe our social workers. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Horton. Does anybody from DeKalb County government have something burning that they want to say before we close this meeting out? Nothing? No? All right. Y'all got off easy today. Commissioner?
All right. Thank you all for being here. Let's give Dr. Horton a big round of applause. All right. Thank you all for coming out. You guys did get off easy, but then again, so did I, so I'll take it. And we'll see you again at the next one. Thank you all for being here.